Hey everyone, it's pretty rainy, but today we're at Loblolly Woods Nature Park. We're going to be talking about a couple of the communities that are around here, which include Cypress Dome. Oh my goodness. Cypress Dome, alluvial floodplain, and a little bit of hardwoods, but we're going to focus mostly on the alluvial floodplain and the Cypress Dome aspects of this park. Thank you for joining me. We're going to do a pretty good, thorough investigation, even in the rain. Hi, so it's a pretty rainy day today in Gainesville, Florida. We're at Loblolly Nature Preserve, which is kind of like a mixture between a cypress dome and an alluvial floodplain community. We've got Hogtown Creek right here, which is actively filtering sediment. It's pretty sandy, silty soil. It's not super clayish, unless we got in, and dug pretty deep to find it, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty sandy around here. To me, this looks more like an alluvial floodplain, but if we go inland just a little bit that way, we can start to find some isolated, smaller cypress basins with some deep layers of peat that also act to kind of manage floodwater and nutrients in this area. So basically we're on the upper bank of the Hogtown Creek. We can see our overstory is contains a lot of swamp chestnut oaks, sweet gums, live oaks. We got a couple loblolly pines a little bit further in, not so much on the outside here. If we go in a little bit deeper to the Cypress Basin part of this park, we'll find a lot more bald cypress and eastern red cedars. For the mid-story, we have a bunch of young oak growth, as well as, it's like water oaks, a bunch of Christmas berries, and then just a lot of young growth is what we're finding, and then cabbage palms and saw palmettos as well. For the undergrowth, I would consider the saw palmettos and the cabbage palms as part of the undergrowth as well, depending on the size, of course. We have poison oaks and a bunch of ivies as well. Sorry, it is raining. I'm trying to keep my notes a little dry. This park is managed by the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs in Gainesville. I'm not sure what more they do besides, well, I know that Hogtown Creek can have high levels of, we'll call it fecal material, where they'll close off the creek to the public, at least for swimming. And then basically, like this whole area, and maybe I'll run over to get a cypress basin shot in a little bit, but this whole area, you can see the water speeding up around the corners here, and then over there on the other side of the creek where it's a little shallow, you can see it's depositing sand and sediment. So this whole area acts as a natural filter in retaining sediment and also nutrients. And this whole area pretty much is really good at managing floodwaters. And then I'm gonna cut the video here and then head over to one of the basins just to show you what that part of this park looks like. Hi again. We've wandered back into Loblolly Park, into the further, far back regions. And this is a good example of a cypress basin. You got a lot of standing water that doesn't really leave. You can see all of this decaying plant material that will basically just stay here and not, move around a whole lot. That will eventually become part of the, the soil. We've got a ton of oak and cedar around here. Looking for a bald cypress. I know there's a couple around here. Yeah, there's one over there you can see next to a dead one. But pretty muggy, pretty rainy. a lot of Spanish moss, glossy privettes, just some other stuff that we could add to the mid-story. So just to give you a pretty good idea, you got sandy soil up on the higher, alluvial plains, and then we have these, depressive basins, basically where other plants can get a foothold, and the water, may not stay year-round, but that soil at the bottom is going to be wet pretty much constantly, especially times like these where it's raining. My notes are falling apart. But yeah, that's just a pretty good overview of Loblolly Park. We have a mixture of a cypress dome community / basin with an alluvial floodplain, and there's a bunch of other species that are involved as well. So it's not just like one specific forest community. We've got a few in the region. Danger, hornets. We got hornets in the area too. So that pretty much concludes my. So here's another one. Sorry, before I leave, here's another good example of a basin that doesn't have a ton of water in it yet, but the land is very low lying. A lot of peat accumulation, a lot of detritus on the ground, and that ground will stay pretty moist throughout the year. Some Christmas berries to add to the understory. But thank you for accompanying me on this pretty wet journey. Yeah, that's my cover of Loblolly Nature Preserve.